Präzise Schockern! Opats! Kristallerien! Attacke! This was a deck request by niceboy8. It was the Chronomaly deck. I've liked Chronomalies for a while, especially after Neberdisc came out in the OCG. It was quite some time until it came to the TCG. Finally, it's here, and yeah. Then I decided to build it. I didn't make it a full TCG deck because that wasn't necessarily suggested. Barely any of the suggestions actually have that. Some may think I only do TCG, but generally I also use OCG unless you specify it's only TCG. So if you want either or, please specify it. So I did have Infinity in there. Anyway, looking back in the duel now, it's good I went with Tyrus and not Infinity. It's good that I did make the mistake because Infinity would only be at 2500 because I wouldn't be able to use its effect due to having used Neberdisc at the start of the turn. I would be able to. I wouldn't even be able to defeat his Pleiades. I would summon it and then be like, oh, no, I can't do anything. I'd have my 25 and I'd be able to crash into something and I couldn't do anything. So it's good that I made the mistake and I went in Tyrus. Otherwise, I very likely would have lost. Anyway, deck profile. We have 3 Chronomaly Crystal Bones and 3 Skull Crystal Bones. Nice card to get you an extra monster from the graveyard. It can get you like a Skull or a Guardian Knot for some 3 plays, but also get something bigger. And only something I actually realized in this duel, not actually before. You can summon this guy and this guy and this guy too. I never came up with that earlier. Crystal Skull is a very nice searcher. You very often would have a Chronomaly card face up on the field, so Skull is there for that. Moai is there as a free special summon to make level 5s, because this deck is quite a lot about level manipulation, 3s, 4, 5s, but usually you go for your 4s and 5s. 1 Moss Golem. I don't feel it is amazing, that's why I only run 1, but it is helpful in getting some things out. It's activated a spell, right? Yeah. And I activate a spell card, not a spell effect. So Babylon already being on the field, activating its effect won't actually make a Moss Golem meet its requirements. Golden Jet really helps because it can change level 4s to level 5s, so Golden Jet, Neberdisc, Moss Golem can become level 5s. Note that if you play Moai, like summon Golden Jet, then special summon Moai, and then use Golden Jet will be level 5, but Moai will be 6, and you generally don't want that, at least not in my build. Neberdisc is the main deck card of the deck. If you can normal summon, you can add any Chronomaly card from your deck to your hand. So Moai for a special summon, a Moss Golem if you have a spell to use, Golden Jet if you feel that's necessary. You can also add Crystal Skull, and Crystal Skull can then just add another Chronomaly monster, which then could be Neberdisc, because Neberdisc can't search for itself, but Neberdisc can search for Skull, which can then search for a new Neberdisc, so you can do this exact same thing next turn. Now, Neberdisc, it says it searches for Chronomaly cards. You can also search for Babylon if you'd like, or Technology, or Chronomaly Pyramid Eye Tablet, and that's quite strong with 800 attack to all Chronomaly monsters. So Neberdisc would, if you normal summon it, you could just have a free 2600 attacker on the field. So it's unfortunate my opponent actually took it out in the duel, but yeah, that's a thing. Guardian Knot is there because, well, I suppose if you summon it via Crystal Bones, it can help with the rank 3, but that's not really what it's for. It helps in the level manipulation, because with this card, it doesn't matter what Chronomaly you have in your hand. If you normal summon this, you can have an Xyz. As long as you have at least one more Chronomaly in your hand, it doesn't matter which one. If you have Skull or Bones, you can make a rank 3. If you have Jet, Neberdisc, or Moss Golem, you have a level 4. If a rank 4, and Moai, it's rank 5. Now note that it doesn't actually negate the effects, so if you summon Golden Jet, they both become level 4, then Golden Jet's effect activates, making them both level 5, so that is still a possibility. Most of these monsters are light, all except Guardian Knot and Moss Golem, which is sometimes unfortunate if you want to make like Golden Jet and then Moss Golem into, let's say, Pleiades. That's unfortunately not possible, but there's quite a lot of light, so Honest is useful. 3 Pyramid Eye Tablets because it's very strongly the 800 attack boost forever. Chronomaly Technology has a little bit of Searcher, but I feel it's too much at more than 1, so I just have it at 1 in the deck. Chronomaly City Babylon, I considered it at 2 before, tested that. Decided against it because, well, sometimes Mystical Space Typhoon is used on it, but generally it's used on my traps and other things. My eye tablets, because people really fear that as well. And, yeah, I don't right now I'm happy with it being only. You could use 2, but I have 1. Duality, note that this deck does special summon quite a bit, but the searchers are very nice. Because at the start of the duel, as you saw, I had quite a lot of Chronomalies. Like, I didn't have any special traps, but I couldn't actually make a double summon. Very often in this deck you can make a double summon with Crystal Bones into something, Golden Jet, a spell, and then Mask Golem, Guardian Knot into something, anything, and then Moai. There's a lot of double summons going on, and I didn't have any options. So with Potterelli, you can search for cards that can give you those options. Forbidden Lance, useful to help protect your monsters, but that's not even the main reason it is in the deck. It's because it makes the opponent lose attack, which can help in the damage step. It's used for that as well in the current game. Forbidden Lance card that's seen decently often. But when we get to my extra deck monsters, you can see how useful Forbidden Lance could just be. Soul Charge to bring monsters back. I'm still kind of mad on this card, but I do like it because you can summon a lot of things back. You don't negate their effects, so Golden Jet can still go poof and increase some levels. So you can get some nice Xyzs out. Defend yourself with Tyras. Still destroy some things with Zenmayo. Take an opponent's monster with Infinity after you've summoned Nova first. There's still a lot of possibilities there. Raigeki, destroy things. Limiter removal, you have a couple of machines. I actually forgot which ones were the machines in this deck. It's Neverdisk and Golden Jet. Not Guardian, not these two. And then it's... Wait, this one? Yeah, I was thinking, this one's machine, this one's machine, this one's machine, Zenmayo's machine, and then Infinity's machine as well. You have a couple of machines in this deck, and with this you can actually help OTK, because this deck does have OTK, but it doesn't have like a super awesome OTK combo, even though it does exist. It is possible, but it doesn't have a really consistent OTK combo, but it can definitely OTK through various ways. Ring of Destruction helps with that as well. It's generally a good card to have as a trap card, but with the additional damage that you deal to your opponent, it can just help with like the bit of battle damage and the quite a bit of burn damage that this deck can help inflict. Torrential Tribute, Solemn Warning, Compulsory Evacuation Device, Bottomless Stample, because they're just generally very good trap cards. Fiendish Chain helps, negate effects helps stop attacks. I really like the card. I'm happy it's a 3, unless it negates my effects, obviously. But generally I do really like to use Fiendish Chain. And sometimes you just want an opponent's monster with lowered attack than its original, or different attack from its original, to just stay on their field, so you just have Fiendish Chain there. It could just be that you find those options. I always like to use Mirror Force, well, almost in almost any deck. So yeah, there you go. Mirror Force is an option if you want to. In the extra deck, first card we have is Gorgonic Guardian. You cannot make with a lot of cards, but Guardian, Art, Crystal Bond, all my level 3s are rock. What the hell am I talking about? It's generally not used a lot because it requires rocks. But I have 3 rock monsters at quite high amounts in this deck, and they can definitely get rid of annoying monsters. During either player's turn, so that can also be opponents, you can detach an Xyz material and make an opponent's attack 0. And its effects are negated, which is already very nice. Note that you can also use this effect during the damage step, your turn, opponent's turn, to make their attack 0 and win a battle. If you use it during your turn, then very likely you'll be able to then use its second effect. Once per turn, this is without having to pay an Xyz material, you can target a monster with 0 attack and destroy it. Now, with Stardust Dragon on the field, normally that wouldn't work because it would be able to negate it. But with its first effect, I will be able to negate it. However, I'm pretty sure it just does keep negating in the graveyard. Otherwise, Stardust would still work. I'd have to be sure, because I haven't actually checked up on that yet. Does it negate like Skill Drain or like Breakthrough Skill? Well, I actually think it's Skill Drain because face up monster the opponent controls. Yeah. Well, I'll have to look it up. I'll put it in the description. If it's not there, just post a comment that I haven't put there, and I'll put it there. Crystal Chrononaut is my second and only other rank 3 Xyz. I would have gone for Ghost Trick Alucard or a different card that I generally find more useful, but Chrononaut is there to be a Chronomaly, because if you've used Technology, you can only special summon Chronomalies. So you could use it with that. By having this on the field, I can still use Crystal Skull, although, like I did in the first turn of the duel you just saw, I just used Skull before actually exceeding. But it does meet, like, having Chrono on the field does meet the requirements for Skull. And as I've just noticed, in the duel, realized Crystal Bones can summon Chrononaut back. You barely ever use it for its effects, and there's rank 3 Xyzes that generally have better attack as well. But, who knows? Like, you can use this, and it helps with some requirements. You could use Alucard if you'd like. I like Chrononaut for the fact that it helps with the requirements and some effects. Gaga Cowboy to help inflict a little bit more burn damage. It's always there, well, in a lot of extra decks to inflict the final 800 burn damage, even though you barely ever really see someone have the opponent at 800 damage and then be able to use Cowboy and have to finish it off. But with the burn damage that this deck can inflict here and there, it's useful. Starleash Paladynamo, generally it's not that used a lot, even level 4 decks that have a lot of lights. I have Number Disc, I have Golden Jet, and Honest, but it makes the opponent's attack 0, and this deck does have quite a few cards that like it if the opponent's attack becomes 0, such as Gorgonic Guardian. And then, like, you could also obviously just do it for battle. Now, Chronomaly Chateau Hyuk doesn't require 2 Chronomaly monsters, can't just make with any, but then again, I just generally have Chronomaly monsters, and I don't intend to normal summon Honest that much. During either player's turn, you can pretty much do the exact same thing as with Gorgonic Guardian. Detach and Xyz material, target a face-up monster, attack becomes 0. Chateau just doesn't negate the effect. So this, you have to keep that in mind. Gorgonic Guardian negates the effect, Chateau Hyuk does not. This is also end of the turn, both until the end of the turn. Now, Chateau has a second effect, which is an ignition effect, just like Gorgonic Guardian's second effect. You can target a monster whose current attack is different from its original attack and destroy it. Generally, 0 attack is not their original. Gorgonic Guardian changes the attack, but it has to be at 0 to then use the second effect to destroy it. For Chateau, you just have to have it be different from its original. So it could just be you sent your deck with a Tanky on the field, you could ready use it. But also, Forbidden Lance. You can make their attack lower it by 800. It's not the original anymore. Gomso! Anyway, and then Chateau is able to destroy it. Sorry, I got a bit distracted. Dinner happened to be ready. Constellar Omega. If you'd like to defend yourself, I barely go into it in this deck, because I generally just don't go into it a lot if it's not a Constellar deck. But if you want to protect yourself from spells and traps and you can't go for rank 5s, this could be an option. I'm going to skip Nova for just a second. Mashumak. This can really help a lot in your deck. If you have something like Lance, it can really deal some decent damage, increase its attack, then battle. But especially combining it with Gorgonic Guardian, Chateau, or Paladynamo. Let's say the opponent has Red as Darkness Metal Dragon, or Red as Darkness Metal Dragon. And you made it attack 0 via the Paladynamo, you can then use Mashumak to deal 2800 burn damage to the opponent. Mashumak then increases its attack by 2800, goes to 52, deals 52 as battle damage by attacking into Red as Darkness Metal. Volcasaurus helps with OTKs and is generally a good rank 5 to use. Pleiades, you have quite a lot of lights to play with, so why not? Tyras is a very useful rank 5 as well, can protect itself, Gebethort. Tyras is able to take a face-up monster. It's generally not used a lot as a rank 5 monster. However, I have the space for the rank 5 monsters, and rank 5 is what I go into most. Zenmayo helps with taking care of back row, and Gaia Dragon you can use to make any of the rank 5s into something that can inflict piercing damage, which could just help you with an OGK or with major damage. You don't really use it for that a lot. Most often I just use it for Volcasaurus after Volcasaurus has destroyed a monster. It can't direct attack, but Thunder Judger can. Cyber Dragon Nova is a monster you could go into if you have machines. Notice that you have to use one of these two, otherwise you mess up. Okay, you messed up. But you can do that and then go into Infinity, because Infinity is just a very good card. It's not TCG yet, so in a TCG build you go for different cards. but you can go for this one. It can take an opponent's face-up attack monster, attach to it as XYZ's material, get rid of any of the opponent's monsters, increase its own attack, and once per turn it can also negate any card activations. Like when an effect or a card is activated. It's an effect, not a spell, trap card, or monster effect. Is it any effect? So even an already active field spell or continuous spell or trap can be negated and slowed by infinity, which is awesome. You can also use, like as an option, you could use Ghost of a Grudge to lower their attack to 0. It could be a nice tech card. I have it in, like, I believe, one of my decks, because it can be a nice card to have, and lowering the attack to 0 can be useful in battle, but also with the cards that I mentioned before. Atlantis, I don't use it as this deck, and maybe if you use like rank up spells you could, but as I said, this deck does run a lot of rank 5s. I like to go into that a lot. However, what you could do is, let's say you don't like Omega, you could throw Omega out, and you never go into Adreus, you could throw Adreus out, which I'm actually going to do right now. And throw in 2 other cards. I'm actually going to do that now, because in the last so many duels, and with so many I mean like 5, 6, I'm not getting into either, even though I've thought about Adreus, but then I felt it was too risky. I'm going to throw in these 2 and test it out. And some people like Costello over 101, but that's a discussion for another time. You could change this, like take out some rank 5s for rank 4s. Or differently, but do notice that this card goes for any face-up card, not just a monster. So Adreus, in that sense, can be useful. I'm not sure. I'd have to test more. Sorry. I thought about this before switching them around a bit. I'd have to test a bit more to really know what I feel is most useful. It does depend on the deck you're playing against as well, but. Yeah, this Adreus 101, Exciton, Cristal, Omega. It depends on the deck you're playing against, really on the situation. There are options. I've given you some. Let me know which of these options that I just was getting confused about, was having trouble deciding what to do with. Let me know what you think of the deck. Let me know what you think of those options. And I hope you enjoyed the duel, and I will just see you again tomorrow. Because remember, it's daily Yu-Gi-Oh videos. I've been doing this since May 2nd, and I'm very proud that I've been able to keep this up for over a month. And I've been able to keep the deck requests going on quite a good pace. So, yeah, see you tomorrow.